Hello everybody, today I am going to be working on Butterfly Fantasies from Papercraftsocials. It is also a 3D folio card. I'm going to be doing this one in a couple different segments. So today we're only going to be working on the 3D butterfly part and the base of the card. The second segment will be adding the folio units, and then the third will be blinging it out. So the first thing I will always do is, the first thing you will be doing is getting a paper kit from somebody. I'll have my link in the thing for it, so it will have literally what it's titled on. But besides for the first page, I always go through, and I actually did not number this one. Shame on me, and normally number. And I unfortunately did not do it on this card. I will have to make sure I do that before I do more filming for y'all to make it easier. So, the card itself has, like I said, multiple pockets, tags. We're going to play around with multiple things. But first things first, we need to get the basics done. So, you're going to need scissors to cut out. I keep both regular pair of scissors, a fussy cut scissors, and then I have a pair of scissors that I have dedicated just to double-sided tape. Now, I am using double-sided tape. Part of the reason is I want to move quicker and let this get done quicker. The other part is I know you don't want me to take forever to dry. I recommend having a ruler or something else along those lines. I have a bone folder and a drywall sponge to go instead. And you're going to need regular glue stick and liquid glue. A tip on your liquid glue, you can find a container to put upside down. Works great. I am also using some inking. So I have my inking tool, and this one is a from the Recollections brand, and it's called Peach. I'm only going to show a little of the inking, and then I'll finish up the inking at the end to go for. So to start with, you're only going to need about 6 pieces out of your card. You have 4 pieces of your 8 pieces, I can't even count. 4 of your butterfly, 2 of the pink here, and 2 with the flowers with a tab. Do not cut that tab off, please. You need to leave it there because it's going to help stabilize our project. So, I'm going to set these aside, and we're going to first work with our butterflies. If you're not using double-sided tape like I am, you may want clips to help hold, and so forth. I also have one thing I had to grab, and it's called foil, because when I am gluing, I do not like to glue on paper, felt, or anything like that because it'll stick. The foil, it does not stick as bad. So, first things first, you'll notice 2 of the butterflies have tabs on them. We need to keep those. So you're going to take the one that faces the opposite direction of the one with the tab and put them together. That will make sense because we are going to be doing double-sided, like so. Again, am going to be using some tape to make sure it holds and get us moving a little quicker here. I'm just eyeballing how much the tape itself and just cutting. If it sticks off a little, I will peel it up just slightly. This tape is actually an easy one to tear, but I just prefer scissors, personally. And sometimes you get bubbles, I just press them out. And now I have a little bit of tape on my hand. If you are someone who gets ink and stuff on and you're going to be using ink, do wear some clothes to cover that you don't mind getting ink on. I have not, thankfully, got any on me besides for my hands. And my hands are easy enough to wipe off. Same thing with getting glue on my hands and stuff like that. So, I'm just estimating my cuts. I'm not even measuring here. And just putting a few pieces down on the edges. That way it gives me a little more stability. I'm going to go ahead and slide it to the foil. But actually I've skipped a step. You may want to fold this inward so you have the crease line to line up with. I always end up gluing before I remember to do that, and I'm glad I caught myself before I glued it. And I will do it the correct way. I'm going to do both at the same time so I do not forget the other side. So there's one creased. As you can see, I'm using the bone tool, just folding, eyeballing the line, doing a little bit of pinching. But I like a little more than that down. So I press on down. And there we go. We have those folded. Now we'll get back to actually adding these together. So first things first, I am peeling up my tape pieces on the double-sided tape. And I'm just letting them lay to the side. After I get this glued, I will take a chance and throw them away. For this, I am using the stick glue. And again, I'm just using some permanent Scotch tape stick glue. You can use the liquid glue, but I've noticed sometimes, since most of them are water-based for crafting, they will wrinkle. That is not something you really want. Alright, and you can see sometimes it does still stick on the foil. Now, I am holding it in my hands where they're going to be sandwiched together. What I do is I carefully line it up best I can in that seam, and then just let it drop. That is how I found I get the best lining and not have to do a lot of fussy cutting or fussy cutting at all. This one, I can just I will fussy cut it just so y'all can see, but I could also just leave it as is. Sometimes I cut multiple strips I grabbed the wrong side there. Strips at once with my tape to make it go quicker. But then I also run out of fingers, so I had to stop and cut some more. I apologize, the doggy is not happy with me today. She is in one area and everyone else is not in that area. They're all in other areas right now. So you may hear the dogs going off a little. I'm wanting to add a little more tape right here. Yes, I over tape. I can tell y'all that now. But I'm doing this because I don't want to keep y'all waiting forever. And that is what will happen if I don't over tape. Because I will sit and wait till the glue has at least 15 minutes to set normally. And I know y'all don't want that. If you have issues and you are using double-sided tape, I recommend buying some tweezers. Any type to do, just leave it in your craft supply so you don't actually get tape residue on other things. And just reuse that over and over for it. I do have some, but I always forget to grab them. So I'm trying to stay on screen. We're just going to glue this again. I'm gluing as quickly as I can here. And we are going to line it up again, like I did with the other one, to the best of my ability. And I just press it down. Now that I have both done, I will come back and run it, my scraper over it to make sure they're both set pretty good. Now this one lined up pretty good. This one has a little bit of cutting that is going to drive me up the wall if I do not cut. You can that is optional. And it would help if I did grab the scissors that are locked with glue. So I'll be honest, I prefer bigger handled scissors. They are more comfortable in my hands personally. And I'm just going to cut that little bit of part off that's going to bug me. I'm going to drop it on my foil carefully. Drop it on my foil so it's out of the way. Check and see what I needed to do on the other side that had caught my attention, and it was where it was a little too high up here. And there we go, that one. This one does not have as much needed. And I'm going off screen on y'all now, I'm sorry. Let me pull back on where I just kind of fussy cut it where it's a little bit closer, where there's not as much white for me to edge. Now you have two options. I'm going to do the secondary option. You can edge these now, or you can symbol the entire card, then edge them. I am symboling the entire card, then doing all the edging. Sometimes I do the other. So now we have this here where we're going to line these up to our best of our abilities. I'm putting some double-sided tape down. And then some people will use liquid glue here for a better hold. Others will use both liquid and regular, the stick glue. Since I don't want y'all to have to wait forever on this to sit, we are just running the stick glue through. But if you are at home and have time and not have to wait forever, I would recommend adding regular liquid glue. Actually, I may regret it, but I am going to squeeze a little on the edges, and normally about 2 or 3 dots in the middle, because I do tiny dots, not overly big dots. Now we're going to just line this up to the best of our abilities, and once it's lined up, I press it down. Then I flip it. Here is where I take my scraper and run it on. Luckily for what we're doing, we do not have to let this sit forever. But I'm now flipping it to where the flowers are correctly on mine. Now, the reason why I recommend go ahead and having a couple of clips is we are now going to try to line up the butterflies. So I'm going to just kind of eyeball each side where I want them. Then I grab a clip. These will never be perfect, and I'm not even going to ask y'all to try to get them perfect. This is just how I do my best I can. And as you can see, they're semi-lined up. So I'm going to do one side, and I'm going to cut a little bit of tape. As you can see, I've already lost my spot. That's one reason I only do one side at a time. I'm going to press it back to where I think I had it a minute ago. Drop some tape there. Again, the tape makes it where I can go quicker on y'all. And this, what I'm doing right now, is actually the longest part. I'm going to carefully run the edge here with some glue, because I'm not moving it. And then I eyeball and drop a little bit of glue, liquid glue, again, because that's my preference. And also, even though I'll have recommendations of the product I am going to be using, as you can see, I got the liquid glue off a little bit there. I will recommend y'all use what y'all want. So that one is now pretty good stuck. I'm going to see how well I kept my line. I am pretty happy with that. So I am going to, I should have not took the clip off yet. Okay, there we go. Slide this up just a teeny bit here. And I'm just eyeballing. It may not be perfect, but here's the thing. It doesn't have to be perfect. And there goes the pup again. And the glue tape is not wanting to come up this time on the backing. There we go. I'm not going to yell at her because that will actually only set her off worse. I've learned that in the past. And those still look pretty good lined up. Rub the stick. Drop glue. And then I am hoping I got it pretty lined up still, and I'm pressing on down because I can't tell till I fold. And they're actually really good lined up. Alright. Normally here I do wait a little while, and if you are doing this at home, I highly recommend it. Except I am going to go ahead and start cutting some tape to put right on the seam here to make it just a little bit stronger. And also another idea, if you want to make it where it can tie shut, add some ribbon before you do this part here. I may do one of those in the future. I have not done one yet. I have 4 different sizes of tape here with me I'm using. So if y'all are wondering why you see random different sizes as I stick, it's because I have multiple size tapes with me. I am just doing this semi on the edge to make it, even though this is where we'll, after I get the next piece on, we're going to fold and then we'll be done for today until the next video comes on. And I will try to keep all the videos uploaded in 1 week for y'all, because I know I hate waiting. And go from there. So the main part where I put the glue is right in that middle where that seam is. I'm not to glue the tape to give it a little extra strength. Now I'm going to, before we do anything else, I am cleaning off my foil that I had left some things on, because it's easy to pick up and take it over and drop it right next to me where I have my scrap trash area here. Because I'm hoping most of this is recycling. I'm not 100% sure. So we are going to be pulling the tape. We're going to do half one side and the other side with glue. And then you're going to have to decide how you want this lined up. If you, and this is an optional, so you can ink this fiddle before you do anything. I do not, but you can. So I'm just going to line it up just like that. It is up to y'all. And once you get it down, it's sometimes hard to get back up, so be careful as you try to put it down, especially if you're doing the tape like I am. I am pulling all the tape up to get this on. And then we will go from there. And then I just use, on this one, I will only use a glue stick. Because I do not want to try to keep the wrinkling out as best I can. But if you have a glue y'all love best that you know won't curl or anything, or wrinkle, go for it. Go heavy on the edges is my recommendation when you're gluing. And I just rub or swirl inside. I go ahead and do both sides. That's one reason I really should have unfolded my paper today, and I did not do it. My fold today, and I did not do it. And sometimes you'll have to stop and twist. Especially if you're like me and go overboard on everything you use. I do want to make sure everything stays stuck. That's why I do it. Alright, I'm moving the foil out of the way because I don't like that shininess. Or the way it sounds personally. I am coming as close as I can to the edge and lining it up the best of my ability. And just letting it drop. This is why I do a little edging, because there is a little off that I'll have to trim up a little, but that is no big deal. I am going to do the edge over here again, because we can always find something to fill that center if there's a little gap, which this time there is not. I'm happy overall with this, so we're just going to press it down. I may come back and trim a little bit where it's overlapped. I'll make a decision before the next video. But now, you see where we're going to grab both sides and we're going to estimate our fold of where we want it. Then fold it into the card. I am happy with right there. I am going to press with the best of my ability with my hand on both sides. And then I'm going to back with, this is why I recommend having a ruler. I would use a plastic without a sharp edge on it, so it does not tear the paper. And there we go. We have our card assembled. Now, I'm going to show you a small inking space, and then on the next video, we will work on the folio. So I have dipped my ink, and I'm just going to run it on the edge and give it a little bit of another color pop. I will also do this on the card itself, so it will add to it as well. I always do front and back. So there's a little bit on the wing, and here's a little bit how I'll do it on the card. And that will be finished before our next video. Our next video we'll be doing the folio, and then after that we will be blinging it out. Again, I am Christy with christisecreations. I'd love for y'all to comment, subscribe, let me know what y'all think. If you have any ideas, techniques you'd like me to work with, or so forth, please let me know. Again, thank you for joining me today. Bye, everybody.